Welcome to Fix It Home Improvement, covering projects that every homeowner should know and great products for home and garden.
Hi, I'm JC, and this is where we share weekly home improvement tips. I'm here with my co-host, Cindy.
Hello, JC.
Hi, Cindy. This week we're going to talk about some plumbing terms and tips, and we'd like to thank Kid Spencer for liking and sharing the podcast. We'd also like to thank Mike from the Glow in the Dark radio podcast for letting us promote our podcast on his podcast. Mike reads his science fiction stories on his podcast. An old plumbing term or abbreviation you'll still see sometimes is WC on plumbing parts or plans for buildings. WC stands for water closet. In old homes, when they started adding indoor toilets, they would run the plumbing to a closet and install the toilet there. In modern homes, realtors are using the term water closet for large bathrooms with a toilet that's sectioned off with its own door that can be closed while someone's using the shower or a bathtub.
Let's start with valves. There are a lot of different types of valves in plumbing.
Right.
If you go to a hardware store and you ask an employee, hey, I need a valve,
Right.
they're not going to know what you want.
Right.
So what is a shut-off valve?
A shut-off valve is going to control the water either to your home, a water heater, a toilet, faucet, humidifier, ice maker, whatever needs water. If you're replacing the main valve that supplies the water to your house or to a water heater, for example, the most common types are a gate valve, a ball valve, or in older homes, a globe valve. A gate valve was developed in the early 1800s.
Wow.
It has a circular disc that lifts up and down when you turn the handle. And this is a full flow type of valve. When the gate is up, the water is flowing through that opening without any restrictions. This type of valve isn't designed to control the water flow. It's designed to be completely open or completely closed. A ball valve has a ball with a hole through it to control water flow.
Well, I hope it has a ball.
So these are quarter-turn valves. Instead of a multi-turn valve like a gate valve where you have to turn the handle multiple times to lift or close the gate, you just have to turn the handle a quarter turn to open or close it. With a ball valve, the hole through the ball is the same size as the inlet and outlet of the valve, so you have unrestricted water flow. You'll see it called full port or full bore. Ball valves are very dependable, very long-lasting, and they're also not designed to control water flow. Like a gate valve, they're designed to be fully open or fully closed.
Okay.
A globe valve is a type of stop valve. This type of valve is good for controlling water flow, but it reduces the water flow when it's open because the water has to flow through a seat, which reduces the size of the opening, and the water has to change directions.
Never heard of it.
It's primarily used for things like boilers or in older homes.
What is a stop valve?
A stop valve has a handle that's connected to a stem. On the end of the stem is a rubber washer that closes against a circular seat. When you lift the stem up, it allows the water to flow. When it's lowered, it stops the water. And to operate it, it's similar to a gate valve. You have to turn the handle multiple times to raise or lower the stem. And the seat is smaller than the inlet and the outlet, so it's going to reduce the water flow. In the house I'm in now, the main shutoff valve on the water line for the house wouldn't completely shut off the water.
That's a bummer.
Yeah, there's full pressure when it's on. So I added a ball valve past the old gate valve to turn off the water to the house when I'm doing projects.
And why don't you just remove it?
You know, it's in a tight spot behind the ejector pump and the furnace, so it was much easier to work past it. Since I have full pressure, I just cut out a section past that and put in a new ball valve.
Okay.
And recently, I replaced an old gate valve to my water heater with a quarter-turn push-fit ball valve, which was very easy to install on copper pipe. You just push it onto the pipe and you're done.
Yeah.
And you can check out a video we did. It's called Replacing a Gas Water Heater and Products to Make the Job Easier on our Fix It Home Improvement channel on YouTube.
Is that the longest title you've ever done?
Yeah. Generally, I like 1 or 2 word titles.
I know.
When you're replacing a shutoff valve to a toilet or a faucet, use a quarter-turn valve. It's going to be much more dependable and longer lasting than a multi-turn stop valve. Most hardware stores and home centers primarily carry quarter-turn valves now, but some still carry multi-turn stop valves.
Mm-hmm.
So I would pick a quarter-turn valve.
Me too. What is a saddle valve?
A saddle valve is generally used to tap into copper pipe to supply water to a humidifier or a refrigerator for an ice maker or water in the door. It has a bracket and a rubber washer that clamps around the pipe. As you tighten down the stem, it pierces the copper pipe, so you don't have to turn off the water or cut into the pipe to install the valve.
Mm-hmm.
The problem with saddle valves is they have a high fail rate, and many areas don't allow them anymore.
Right.
And you'll still find saddle valves in hardware stores and home centers. A quarter-turn ball valve is going to be much more dependable.
Mm-hmm.
A new type of valve is a tankless water heater valve.
Yeah.
So this is a valve that makes connecting a tankless water heater easier. And I just took some training from Watts for their LFT WHG2 valves. A pair of valves can replace 18 fittings and 16 connections that are commonly used for a tankless water heater.
Wow.
That's pretty wild. For example, if you have a union on both sides of the two fittings, you can replace up to 4 unions, 3 T's, 7 nipples, 2 ball valves, 2 boiler drains, and 2 hose bib covers.
Wow.
And the valves are quarter-turn ball valves. On the outlet end, you can have a sweat connection, a threaded connection, or a press connection. So it simplifies the installation. It's really a small valve, so all these parts are very streamlined. So if you're installing a tankless water heater, it's something to check out.
What is a pressure-reducing valve?
It's a valve that you would put on your main water pipe to reduce the water pressure in your home. High water pressure can damage your water heater, and it's hard on your appliances. Most pressure-reducing valves will allow you to reduce the water pressure from 25 to 75 psi. PSI is pounds per square inch. 50 to 60 psi is normally the recommended setting for your home, and many pressure-reducing valves come preset at 50 psi.
Should you know the PSI of your home?
It's not a bad thing to know. You can buy a water pressure test gauge at a hardware store or a home center and connect that to your garden hose valve outside, and it's going to tell you your home's water pressure.
What's yours?
52 psi.
Oh, you lie. What is a check valve?
A check valve prevents backflow or back pressure. You'd put a check valve on the discharge pipe on a sump pump or an ejector pump to stop water from coming back into the pit. A check valve can also be put on a condensate pump. It's usually a small valve threaded on one side to go into the pump, and you have a hose barb on the outlet. The flap opens one way and closes to prevent the water from going the other way.
What's a condensate pump?
High-efficiency condensing furnaces condense water vapor to pull extra heat out of the air, and that water drains out of the furnace. And air conditioners pull extra moisture out of the air. Some furnace central air systems have a condensate pump to collect the water and then pump it up and out through a discharge pipe.
Cool.
Yeah, it is pretty cool.
What's the title of this episode? Valves, valves, and more valves?
Okay.
What is a fill valve?
A toilet fill valve is a valve inside the toilet tank that puts water in the tank and the bowl. If you have a high-efficiency toilet, like 1.28 gallons per flush, you need to get a high-efficiency fill valve, and this allows you to adjust the amount of water in the bowl. If you don't have enough water in the bowl, it's not going to flush properly. 2 of the top-rated are the Corky Platinum. Corky is Korky, and the Fluid Master Performax. And Performax is Performax. And these will allow you to adjust not only the water in the tank, but in the bowl.
Cool. What is a flush valve?
It's the valve that lets the water out of the toilet tank. So when you press down on your handle. And if you're replacing a toilet flush valve, you need to know the size. You would either lift the flap or lift up on the canister and measure the inside diameter of the flush valve it's either going to be 2 inches, 3 inches, or 4 inches, and you need to match that.
So before it used to be just 2 inches, right?
Yeah, right. The original toilets were 2 inches for...
universal.
Yeah, it used to be forever. They were that size. And then as you got more high-efficiency toilets, then you went to 3-inch, 3-inch oversize, and 4-inch flush valves. Fluidmaster and Corky both have top-rated flush valves.
Any other valves you want to cover?
No, thank you.
All right.
We'll save that for a future episode.
Exciting. The valve episode?
Part 2.
What is plumber's putty?
It's a clay-like putty that creates a watertight seal under a flange of a kitchen sink basket or a bathroom sink drain pipe.
It's kind of like Play-Doh.
Right, exactly.
It comes in a container like Play-Doh, too.
Right. It can also be used for some shower drain flanges. You knead this putty into a rope about a 1/2 inch thick, and you put it under the flange of your sink basket or the pipe. You push it down to allow the excess to push out. Once you tighten it down, it creates a watertight seal that can be used immediately.
Probably unlike Play-Doh.
Right. Stain-free or non-staining plumber's putty can be used on more surfaces than standard oil-based plumber's putty. Stain-free won't stain porous material like granite, marble, or quartz. Some top-rated companies are Odie, O-A-T-E-Y, and Black Swan, B-L-A-C-K, capital S-W-A-N.
What is pipe dope?
Pipe dope is a term that plumbers use for pipe thread sealant, and this prevents water or gas from leaking. It fills the space between the threads of pipe, and it comes in a tube or a bottle with a brush to apply to the male threads. Dope comes from a Dutch word for a thick sauce used for dipping food into. And Odie has a pipe thread sealant called Pro Dope for metal pipe. They also have a product called Great White, and this is for all types of metal and plastic threaded pipe, ABS, aluminum, brass, CPVC, copper, PVC, and stainless steel. Some top-rated pipe thread sealants come from Odie, Rector Seal, it's R-E-C-T-O-R, capital S-E-A-L, and Blue Monster, B-L-U-E, capital M-O-N-S-T-E-R.
What's a plumbing trap?
It's a U or J-shaped drain pipe.
So what's a P-trap?
So a J-bend is just the trap itself, shaped like a J for a kitchen or a bathroom sink. A P-trap is the J-bend plus the wall tube that's connected to it.
To make a P?
Right, exactly. So traps for
What's an S-trap?
S-traps are no longer code. They used to, go into that J and then go into another loop and straight down and out of your sink cabinet. A lot of the old homes that we bought in the south side of Chicago still had S-traps.
Like 100 years ago?
Right, yeah, some of these old homes.
So, where are we?
So the standard size, if you're getting something for your kitchen, is 1.5 inch drain pipe, and that would be the size of your trap. The pipe and the trap for a bathroom sink should be 1.25 inches, but you'll find some bathroom sinks with 1.5 inch traps that have a reducing washer on the top to go from that 1.25 inch pipe from the sink to the 1.5 inch trap to the wall tube to an 1.5 inch stub out in the wall. So that's the one area where you might have one size or the other size.
Okay. What is a plumbing snake?
It's a flexible metal cable that will break up a clog in a drain. It can also be called an auger or a rodder. A hand auger is a good tool to have around the house.
It is handy.
It is. So it has a hand grip with a drum that holds your flexible cable. You would pull out a section of the cable and hand feed it into your drain until you hit the clog. And most of these tools will have a thumb screw to hold the cable in place. And then you'll have a turn knob on the drum so that you can rotate it and push it until you break through the clog. A more powerful auger would be an electric auger, and you can get a drill style that's connected to a drum, and that's going to generate more force. There are larger drum augers that sit on the floor, and they can either be stationary or have wheels. The handheld augers are good for bathroom and kitchen drains. The larger drum augers are good for floor drains.
Right.
And Roto-Rooter, their auger was invented in 1933.
Wow. What is water sense?
WaterSense labeled products use at least 20% less water and must perform as well as standard products in the category. This is an EPA program.
That's good.
WaterSense toilets, for example, use 1.28 gallons per flush or less and have to flush the same or better than 1.6 gallons per flush toilets. The federal standard for toilets is now 1.6 gallons per flush. The EPA says toilets use about 30% of the water used in your home.
Wow, that's crazy.
The new federal mandate for shower heads is 2.5 gallons per minute, although some states have their own maximum. California, Hawaii, and Washington, for example, only allow shower heads that are 1.8 gallons per minute to be sold.
Mm-hmm.
New York, Vermont, and Massachusetts only allow 2 gallons per minute. WaterSense shower heads are 2 gallons per minute or less, and they're tested to work as well as shower heads that are 2.5 gallons per minute with even coverage. The EPA says showering is about 17% of the water use for homes. The average family uses about 40 gallons of water per day for showering, and a shower head that's 2.5 gallons per minute uses 25 gallons for a 10-minute shower. A 1.8 gallon per minute shower head would use 18 gallons for a 10-minute shower, and the average shower length in the U.S. is 8 to 10 minutes.
Wow.
The federal mandate now for bath and kitchen faucets is 2.2 gallons per minute. WaterSense faucets for the bathroom are 1.5 gallons per minute or less. WaterSense faucets for the kitchen are 2.2 gallons per minute or less.
What is GPF?
Gallons per flush.
What is GPM?
Gallons per minute.
Cool. Do you have anything else to add?
No, I think we ended on a high note.
The Valves episode was good.
Stay tuned for part 2.
All right. Let's wrap this up.
You can subscribe to the podcast on your favorite podcast app.
If you enjoyed it, please leave us a review.
You can check out our home improvement videos on our YouTube channel, Fix It Home Improvement.
And you can subscribe to that as well.
You can download our ebooks, Home Improvement Solutions, What Every Homeowner Should Know, books 1 through 16 on Amazon.
If you enjoyed it, please leave us a 5-star rating and review.
You can email us at fixitpodcast@gmail.com. You can follow Cindy on Twitter @FixitCohost, and you can follow us on Instagram, Fix It Home Improvement.
Thank you for listening.
Talk to you next week.